because it's more of like,
Such a dark subject, man.
Yeah, like my shit hurts and it might be broken, whatever, Let's talk about wrestling.
You sound like you're crying. You okay?
You're crying.
Yeah, hug.
I might.
Suck it up, Ray.
No.
You know why?
Why?
Because it's Friday, February 10th, 2017, and you're listening to On the Heels Wrestling Podcast. I'm Brittany.
I'm Ray. So we were a few wrestling fans who like to conversate and debate about our about our fascination and or strong feelings towards professional wrestling. We started this podcast at our former place of business, which gave us the space to shoot on all the things in our favorite pastime without the confused looks we often got from the rest of the office.
This podcast is about giving you consistent bite-sized commentary on the world of professional wrestling. We focus primarily on WWE's ever-expanding network fucking show lineup, though we'll occasionally touch on our local indie scene right here in Seattle, Washington.
Yeah. Every week we'll either recap WWE's weekly shows, network specials, pay-per-views, everything they do, or we'll hold a roundtable discussion on a particular topic. Today, we're excited to welcome back a recent guest. Give it up for Nerdiest Wrestling in Seattle. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Give it up for the Nerdiest Wrestler in Seattle's local promotion 3-2-1 battle. Let's give it up for Herman Nerdstrom.
Hi! I'm so happy to be back. And
oh god.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, hang on. I need to do this again.
You got the black lung.
I think I have the black lung, Pop. Okay. I feel much better now. Yes, thank you. I am so glad to be back here. It is awesome to be back here.
That was terrifying to watch.
It is. Sometimes it is. It happens,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that we have you on, there's lots of questions. But first of all, I mean, how long have you been wrestling for now?
Officially, I have been wrestling since November of last year. So that means I've been about a year and 2 months, 3 months, 3 months now, which is pretty cool. And I've been enjoying basically every moment of it.
It's awesome. And then how long is just real quick? How long has the training been? How long has that been?
Oh, you mean in terms of between?
When did you start actually training?
Yeah, I started training in November of last year, but then as far as actually being a part of a wrestling roster, that was May. It was actually the show after last year's Battlemania.
Okay.
Yeah.
So speaking of the show right after Battlemania, you came out. You're this super nerdy dude. Everybody fucking loves you. Explain how your character came about. Well, see, the character, it's not a character. Herman Nerdstrom is the real thing. It's an extension of, the person, honestly. See, Herman, the guy who's playing it, he's actually a real nerd in real life. No.
Yeah. Honestly, not just in wrestling, but just in comic books, anime, all that kind of stuff. And he just absolutely loves all these kind of things. And he's able to take it and just put it into, this amazing over the top character that, I feel like fans in 3-2-1 Battle can relate to. I mean, honestly, the way that I came up with it though, is that, my trainers at the time when I was first starting, thought that you should actually use nerdiness as a character. And at that time, I already had a character in mind. And I said, I wanted to be this character. But then there was a situation where a match was going to happen and this guy needed an opponent. And I remember seeing the line, it said, this guy, it's going to be some silly gimmick dude. And I said, I've got a gimmick. And I said, screw it, I'm going to come in as the nerd. And a lot of people were like saying that it's just going to be a short-term kind of gig. You're only going to just do it for a couple of months, and then you can pick out a different gimmick at the time. But I came in and I said, I'm just going to go ahead and try this out. I just want to be part of the roster and just show, what I can do. And I came in, I fought Coach Steele, and the rest is history.
And now you've got a T-shirt.
Now I have a T-shirt.
Yeah, you do.
Now I have more T-shirts coming in, actually.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited for the new ones coming in.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, how would you describe your wrestling style, and how much of that has kind of evolved with this character?
Really, like, the amount of wrestling that I do in there has just evolved along with the training that the person has done. And I've just been really trying to implement as much technical stuff as possible. But, at the same time, Herman Nerdstrom's a nerd. He's going to fight the nerdy way. He's going to drop noogies all the time. He's going to drop some noogies. He's going to drop some bully burns. He's going to do wet willies. He's going to make sure that you stop hitting yourself as many times as you stop hitting yourself, that kind of thing. And he just wants to make sure that always happens. But, the nerd, he's going to read his books, and he's going to look at his books and just make sure that he can absorb every possible kind of detail from them in order to make like his wrestling style unique. It's going to be special. It's going to be more technical. He wants to be like, the best nerdy wrestler that he could possibly be, and he's going to do anything that he could possibly do to do it.
So a little bit more about the person behind the character. When did you first start?
He's such a dick. The person behind the character is an asshole.
So when did you first start watching wrestling?
When I first started watching wrestling, I can totally think back to the first memory I have of wrestling. I was 3 years old, and my dad, back when my parents were together at the time, my dad said he took a Coliseum video and he popped it in, and it was WrestleMania 6. And we watched together Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior for the title match. And that was the first match I ever saw. And I remember my dad, he told me that he wanted to do this so that he can get me to be a Hogan fan. But I was like, no, this dude with the rainbow tassels on his arms and his legs and he's running to the ring with a face paint. I'm going to choose this guy. And sure enough, he won it. And of course, like, here's the thing is that my dad told me a few years later that the reason why he did it was because he showed me this match was because he already knew the outcome of this match. He knew that I was going to like the Warrior.
Oh man!
And so
that's
like
awesome.
He's like, and then sure enough, like the first match I ever saw, the guy that I like wins, and that's basically what happens. And since then, that's my first memory of wrestling, but I have so many memories of wrestling since then. I've gone through all the years basically of WWE's peak.
Yeah. So now that you are, now that you've actually become a wrestler after training, is it what you expected? Do you feel like you were well prepared for it? Like once you actually got in the ring in front of a crowd?
I would say yes and no, and it's mostly because like if something is what I was expected to do, if something is what is expected, I don't think I'd ever want to really be super involved in it because a lot of what I would want to do is like there's got to be some kind of mystery behind it, and and always learning like always new things every single time. Even if it's something that you absolutely love, you always want to find something new about it. Yeah. As far as like what I was expecting it, like it's gonna be hard work. It's gonna be like a lot of time dedication, a lot of training, and making sure that your mindset is set on wrestling. I was expecting that. And as far as me being ready, I'm not ready. I'm like never ready. Both physically, mostly physically, but yeah, it just gives me the drive to work harder and be better, and creating a better craft that I can show to the audience and saying, hey, Herman Nerdstrom's here to stay.
So what do you love best about the craft?
Oh my gosh. I just love the performance aspect of it. It's been described many times. Wrestling is live theater. Mm-hmm. And just like live theater, you have these actors that, have spent years and years honing their craft and being the best that they can be so they can put on a great performance. And it's always great to see your efforts being recognized. And the way that it's recognized is in 3, 2, 1 battle is, the audience, coming in and getting excited and chanting for you. Saying "Let's get nerdy" when you say "Let's get nerdy." That's
man, I love that.
That's just an awesome thing, Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
real quick, I want to interject. One of my favorite moments recently, I think it was Horror Business, where you had dressed up as what?
Ash Ketchum.
Yeah, Ash Ketchum, and the Pokemon music plays, and literally 400 people just start singing it in unison.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just so good.
Yeah, and I also love the fact that you were sitting there. You can talk about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You were sitting there. You had your Bailey cosplay on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love, my favorite part was when the song goes, "I'll travel across the land searching far and wide," and you go searching far and wide with me, and it was just an awesome interaction with it. And I was and I knew you were gonna sit there and just be like, yeah, I love Pokemon. This is gonna be dope. But to have it actually be there right in front of it and just be with the audience and them singing in unison, that was awesome. And I might have planned it that way.
It works.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah.
So you obviously watch your wrestling. Who do you try to emulate? Who do you look up to? How do you, who are the wrestlers that may lend well to your style?
Oh, okay. I mean, that's a pretty deep question, because in order to find the wrestlers I try to emulate, you have to go back to who inspired me through the years. Now, bear in mind, again, I started watching wrestling when I was 3 years old, so I had a lot of inspirations. Warrior got me interested in wrestling. Randy Savage kind of kept me there for
nice.
Throughout my childhood. And then Eddie Guerrero kept me there for life. And so there's been a lot of inspirations through there. If I had it my way and physicality wasn't a factor, me being able to do all the moves that you see other independent wrestlers and pro wrestlers do it, I would want to have a moveset that's like Eddie Guerrero's, just super technical with a bunch of flips and lucha stuff and, awesome submission holds and all that kind of stuff, and frog splashing as high as possible, and landing all that kind of stuff. But that's not me, I know what I'm capable of. So as much as I wanted to be like Eddie Guerrero, honestly, as far as the nerd goes, the inspirations for that are actually more, honestly, Shawn Michaels, The Miz.
Oh, yeah,
I'm actually a huge fan of The Miz right now.
me too.
Because he's just an amazing performer, and honestly, I knew this in the back of my head that Miz is a really good worker, but when he did that Talking Smack promo where he just shot fire at Daniel Bryan, and at the very end is the main point of his argument was that he's been able to do this for 12 years because the moveset that he's been able to do, he can do that week in and week out and never have to worry about injuries.
Day after day after day.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of what I want to do. I want to be able to do this for as long as possible. Mm-hmm. I really don't want to have it. I mean, injuries are going to come. I'm expecting them, but I don't want to have it be because it's me causing it to hurt myself.
Yeah.
You want to do what you can to prevent it.
Yeah, exactly. Shawn Michaels. I mean, he honestly he does a couple of moonsaults here and there, but he's got a very safe moveset. Mm-hmm. Miz is a great inspiration. Cena honestly is one too, and hopefully, like I would love to be able to like create the kind of dynamic that he's able to, especially nowadays. See, like John Cena's on fire when it comes to like big main event matches, and I would love to be on that level.
So we talked a little bit last episode, kind of about how we watch Raw, and I think you had mentioned at one point you watched SmackDown.
I'm a SmackDown boy, yeah.
So what else do you watch?
So I mean, I watch pretty much everything on the network as much as possible. There's so much content, you know, and it's almost like an overload nowadays. And that's the reason why when it came to Red versus Blue, I had to pick a brand. And seeing as how like on Hulu I can watch the full episode of SmackDown, whereas you can only watch about an hour and a half of Raw. That kind of like was my deciding factor. Plus, I like the color blue more than the color red. But
so no, the important question: when Pokemon first came out, you went blue.
I went blue.
Thank you.
Oh,
yes,
man.
I totally went blue.
Wow.
Yeah. I bought both of them, but yes, I started with blue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but what about with Pokemon Go? Did you? Are you? Yeah. What team are you? Because we could end this interview right now. Okay.
Dude. Yellow ropes for life.
Yo, Winstinct, man. I'm totally Instinct. I'm yellow team all the way, man.
You know,
you did you not get the memo?
No.
You were all on the same page here.
I figured you guys would pick the premier brand of Team Valor.
Oh, jeez. No, I'd be better dead than red.
Oh shit!
Damn, son.
I spit hot fire just like Team Valor does.
Shit.
Damn. All right. So you mentioned some of your some of your all-time favorites. You know, Warrior, Macho Man, Eddie. Who do you consider your all-time, your number one favorite wrestler of all time?
My boy.
Yeah.
My boy.
Your boy.
No question, Eddie Guerrero.
Okay,
because, like I said, Eddie Guerrero kept me involved, interested in the business permanently. He was just an amazing wrestler. I miss him to death, like even to this day. And I felt like he was just like the five tools. He had the five tools of wrestling, whichever those are. But I would imagine it's just like, the look, speed, talent, performance aspect, being a great entertainer. He had all of that kind of stuff. And I don't think there's ever going to be a guy like Eddie Guerrero ever again. There might be a guy that's close, but nobody compares to him.
So we talked a little bit about your training, your character.
Sure.
What kind of wrestler do you prefer to work with?
How do you
is there a particular like a story you like to tell? Is there a particular like style you like to wrestle within and against other people, or you prefer to wrestle against a different kind of style?
You mean like do I have like a preference as to like the kind of matches that I like to do?
Yeah.
Well, I think first and foremost, like if I'm wrestling a match, and I don't know if I'm like kind of like delving too much into the world of wrestling here, but
hold on. You're on a wrestling podcast.
Yeah, you're good.
I mean, super shoot. Like I don't want to go too deep into that.
Fine.
But when it comes to like wrestling, the first and most important thing out of when you're in a match with somebody else, you want to make sure that both of you guys are looking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that like if I'm constructing a match, I want to make sure that they get all as much of their stuff in that like not just like looks good technically, but like says, hey, this is who I am and this is what I do. And at the same time, I want to be able to do that kind of thing. I'm a nerd. This is what the nerd does. Like that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that's like usually the most important thing. And then also like I just want to be able to like focus more on the performance. Mm-hmm. Again, wrestling is a performance art. It's live theater. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like what I feel like sometimes is missing in some matches that I watch. You could be putting like a 5-star clinic in a match every single night on a technical level, but if you have no connection to the audience, who cares?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like the nerd his gimmick kind of resonates with people, and at least the way that I've gathered is that it resonates with people because they understand the underdog kind of story, you know, like being the last one picked, you know, like you can relate to that kind of stuff. And then on top of that, you know, like 3-2-1 especially, we have such a nerdy audience.
Oh yeah.
You know, we're involved with pop culture more than a lot of people in that audience probably like to admit. And so there's a big level of connectivity with that. And I want to always make sure that in our matches, there's a connectivity, not just with me, but I want to make sure that, like, you know, my opponent's connecting with that audience and doing stuff, and being, you know, being the best that he can be.
Yep. So if we can go back for a second into the you know, the day-to-day, the week-to-week, talk about your training. You know, how often do you train, not only in group, you know, like with the rest of the wrestlers, and also how much do you train kind of on your own? Like, how, you know, what does a week look like for Herman Nerdstrom in terms of getting ready for a match?
Oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure that all my trainers are going to kick my ass for saying what I'm about to say.
All right.
This is the reason why I keep saying physically I am so far behind when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like on a physical level, I am like nowhere near where I should be or where I want to be. And it's because, like, you know, I simply just don't have a lot of time to go out and train, go out and lift and all that kind of stuff. Because I have a full-time schedule, not just as a wrestler, but, you know, Herman Nerdstrom has another life outside of wrestling. Yeah. He works 8 hours a day. Yep. He's at school 8 hours a day. Oof. So if you think about it, that's 16 hours. And then with the occasional wrestling match thrown in there, and then some sleep. That's pretty much that's pretty much his schedule. And he goes to school every single day. You know, he the only time that he ever gets days off from work is when he's actually wrestling. Jesus. You know, so yeah, their nerd life is running rampant.
You didn't choose the nerd life. The nerd life chose you.
Their nerd life chose me. Yeah. Exactly. But that's physical, and you know that's one aspect. But like you have to also understand the performance aspect. And me, in my life, I'm able to like think about that every single day. I'm in a public speaking class right now, and which is awesome because that's what we're doing almost every single night. We're speaking to an audience, you know, and I love the fact that my teachers over there, they know that I wrestle. They're very interested in like learning and all about all that kind of stuff. And so whenever I do a speech, it's going to always be about wrestling, you know, awesome. Pretty much, if I can possibly help with that. And they're going to be fine with that, you know. In English class, you know, it's the same kind of thing, you know, like almost all my written work so far have been about wrestling. I'm doing a project, I'm actually doing a project in English right now where the overarching story for the entire quarter is life in Seattle. Yeah. That's all you're talking about. And specifically, my group is doing the arts in Seattle. Wait a minute. Isn't there a fine arts kind of thing that I'm doing right now? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Wrestling. Yeah. It's just laid into place perfectly. And on top of that, at work, my manager at work is a huge wrestling fan. I'm pretty sure that's also the reason why I got hired at the job. So I have like this opportunity to always talk about wrestling and all that kind of stuff. And even when I have off time during my job, I'm sitting there like visualizing a match. I'm thinking up match ideas in my head. Think about what can I do for like the next show? Mm-hmm. What can I do to excite the crowd? You know, it's like from a physical aspect, I'm not there. But like from an emotional, from a mental, from like a wrestling standpoint, it's there 24/7, and I love it.
Oh man, so it's exciting. It's great. It's kind of taken over your whole life almost. Is there any one match that you've wrestled at this point that is your most memorable?
Wrestling that I've done.
Yes.
Historically, absolutely, no question, 100%. Weekend Warrior versus Herman Nerdstrom, Horror Business,
So
Pokemon
good.
versus Digimon.
It was
It was so good.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that Digimon came out on top, even though
bullshit.
Even though freaking Pikachu comes out to my
Oh my god, I forgot.
Yeah.
and freaking body, cross bodies him with a freaking electric shock,
Yep.
and still the Weekend Warrior kicks out at 2.
Yep.
That's insane.
It was not effective.
It wasn't very effective.
It wasn't very
Although I
effective.
think it was a critical hit.
Yeah.
I would say it's a critical hit.
Yep.
I guess that's just a testament to, how good the Weekend Warrior is, and I got to give full props to him. I mean, he was the champion for a reason.
Yep.
Was the champ.
And I got to give props to him, man. And honestly, from man to man, wrestler to wrestler, I would love to have a match with him again.
Yeah.
Just shoot the shit and just let's have some fun. You know.
So, you are, you're just kind of starting out. It's only been less than a year.
Yes.
What are your thoughts in terms of, kind of long-term goals you see, not just for this character, but like for you, the person behind the character, what are your thoughts in terms of long-term goals? What you think you're hoping to gain, or what you see yourself. What's your 5-year plan?
What's my 5-year plan?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's like, shoot, I'm actually not even wondering. I'm actually worried about what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm not even sure, but much less 5 years. As far as long-term goals, I did write them out, and I already have an idea of what I would like to do for this year, at least just for this year.
Yeah.
One of my overarching goals that I definitely really want to achieve is I want to be able to wrestle in 3 states. I'm already wrestling here in Washington. I would love to wrestle in Oregon, especially with that rich wrestling tradition that Oregon has.
Yeah.
I was actually just in Oregon last Saturday. I went with Jimmy Flame.
Nice.
I did a road trip with Jimmy Flame,
That's
and
awesome.
we went down to this place called the Milwaukee Elks Lodge, just a little bit south of Portland. And he was marking out so much about this venue because this is the place where Playboy Buddy Rose was wrestling. This is the place where Piper was wrestling at the time.
Wow.
He did matches over there, and the people that were there, they've been veterans in this business for such a long time. And he just got super excited. And I walked in there. It's just the Elks Lodge is basically this, think of this super wooden venue with 70s styling, some wood paneling and all that kind of stuff with the classic dance floor. The stage with the confetti looking backdrop on there. Just picture that. And I came in and I took a breath and I instantly felt the tradition in there. And I'm just oh my gosh, I need to wrestle in Oregon. I need to do this. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to do this, and I got to speak to, to the promoter over there. And I helped out, did some ring crew with them and all that kind of stuff. He let me do that. And I tried to say, hey, listen, I really would like to do that. And I don't know what the future's going to hold over in Oregon, but I hope it happens. I'm really excited to work over there.
Seriously.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then with Idaho, that's the other state that I really want to work in. There's a fed over there called Wrestle Club. And the reason why I want to wrestle over there especially is because I've got a friend of mine that I've known for several years. Over in the Wrestle Club, he wrestles as King Marcus Anderson.
Okay.
And, just picture the King gimmick,
Mm-hmm.
he was the ruler of Wrestle Club. And the reason why I really want to go there is because I want to have a match with him.
Yeah.
That's actually if nothing else happens this year, I at least want to wrestle him because I want to wrestle my friend, and I want to wrestle together with him. I just want to see if we can create some magic in Idaho and all that kind of stuff, and just have fun. Plus, King versus Nerd. Who doesn't want to see that actually happen?
It's Getting Goliath thing.
Yeah, exactly. And he is he's legit like 6'3", 6'4", so he's like a taller dude than I am. So it's just gonna be a really fun match to see.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I just really want to do it just for the personal aspect, Oregon for the business aspect, and Washington because Washington is freaking awesome and we're growing and at an alarming rate, and I love it. So yeah.
Best of luck, man.
Thank you.
So last question.
Sure.
Something we always ask our interviewers as we close out. If you were to give advice to anyone starting out on the wrestling journey, what would you tell them?
The one thing that I would definitely say, and I think I've kind of alluded to this throughout this interview, is that if you can't think of anything to do in this business, anything new, anything to do it, that should be the point where you should just stop. Because wrestling is all about evolving and honing your craft and being better every single day. Just doing anything possible to top yourself, even if it's small. It doesn't matter if it's big. Just do something to top yourself. It doesn't matter if you eat apples before a match and you decide to switch to oranges. Just do something to change the routine and evolve it. Because at the end of the day, man, if you don't put all your efforts into it. You don't necessarily have to be 24/7 like I am, but you have to put a generous amount of time on your plate to do it. And if you are not able to give 100% in that time, it's time to think about other endeavors, man. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Herman, it was so good to have you back.
Yeah, thank you so much, dude.
Just amazing interview.
Yeah, and I'm thankful that you guys have given me the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, we loved it.
I'm happy.
All right, so that'll wrap it up for this week. If you like the podcast, you can find us on Twitter at OnTheHeelsWP and on Facebook.com/OnTheHeelsWP. You can find us lots of different services: iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube.
Subscribe to the podcast. Leave us comments, especially on the Facebook posts. If you have questions that maybe Herman Nerdstrom, maybe can answer.
Hi.
Yeah. And then
Of course.
Yeah.
The inhaler wore off.
Oh God.
Shit, we better end this.
Yeah, I gotta end this quick.
That's language. I have virgin ears here.
Oh God. All right, give us. So if you have time, give us a 5-star rating on iTunes so that more wrestling fans can find out about the podcast. But feel free to message us, tweet us, and just ask us or tell us, some really cool wrestling stuff. We love hearing that stuff.
Thank you again. So much. Thank you for listening to On the Heels Wrestling Podcast. And a big thank you to, again, Herman Nerdstrom. It was, again, so happy to have you back.
Yeah, man.
I'm happy next week. Yay! Tune in next week where we'll recap shit.
Yeah, we will.
And then, after all of that, we'll ask ourselves the eternal question.
What?
Does Herman Nerdstrom have a Stefan version?
Oh, shit.
Maybe.
On the Heels Wrestling.